Hi there, welcome back. Welcome to A Bit of My Day. I'm Catherine, and I know you're shocked. What's this? 2 days in a row with a video? Huh! Oh my goodness. She must be feeling better. You know what? I am feeling, my eyes are feeling better. And I'm going to enjoy it while I can, because I do have to have them. I have to get them lasered again on January 24th. So I'm going to enjoy the next week and a day or so. So if you saw my little reel that I put on Instagram yesterday, and the video, also yesterday's video, you saw the work that I've done on this little beauty that I did not expect. I really honestly thought that I was going to pitch this book and put it out of my mind, and then it just shows you, I was thinking and thinking and I just thought I can't let this go. It's so cool looking, and so I'm afraid I did do the rest of this work off camera. I can only do so much time in front of the camera, but then I can explain to you what I did and how I did it. So you saw when I glued down these. And I can't recall whether you saw when I sewed sewed this down and did the Shinuki tangles. Hold on, I'm just going to. It's a little too long for my liking. And then I just sort of thought, yeah, I don't think I did the sewing on camera, because I didn't show the putting the bands on above and below. That sort of came to me at the last minute, and I was able to sort of pull it up a bit. When I was folding it over to glue it down, I realized that I thought it would look nice just to put a little bit of a band across the top and the bottom. And so that simply is a little piece, the width that it needed to be, of jute, and just one width of jute. Sometimes when I'm making bands on a book, for example in experiment number 2, I'll do like 3 lines together. But in this case, because this fabric is quite thick, and I just wanted a little hint. Okay, you leave that be. You have toys to play with. You don't need to play with paper. Only Mommy plays with paper. She's looking at me like, how dare I tell her what to do? You have a little snooze. That's a girl. Good girl. And then, of course, with its age, 1910, it needed to look kind of filthy. So this is just, I just used my gathered twigs, and I used brush and did it in the areas that I thought would be appropriate. Now with the old spine that's all cracky, you can see here it just breaks It just crumbles and breaks. But I'd like to try and be able to save, like here it says travels in Italy. Like, I love that. And here's one of the squares. I'm not convinced yet that I want to put them on the spine, but on the other hand, it seems like the logical place for them to be. Part of me wants to put them maybe on the back, or like, I don't know whether I care about the other two books that were in this book. This was a combination of stories by Gautier. I simply like the travels in Italy part, that it appeals to me. So I don't know. Part of me likes that, but I'm not sure, not sold yet. So I'm going to put it aside and think about it. But I tell you what, I am sold on what I want to put on the cover and on the back. Like I said, I'm craving some quirky, and I have a book on the history of photography. So I like this picture. It's not going to go on the cover, but I think I'd like to put it somewhere inside. I was also tempted to put this maybe somewhere on the cover. It looks like it was a you could purchase film, so perhaps it was kept on the outside of a drugstore or that, and you could put change into it. And yep, coins. You could put change into it and your film would come out. So part of me is wondering whether to fussy cut that out and put it on. Thinking about it, because I really want to put her on it. So she's out of the book as well, The History of Photography. And I have already glued her down. This is the photo of a little girl. And then this is the negative, which it's a little creepy. So part of me wants to put her on the front there, but part of me wants to put this one on the back. And that appeals to me. I'm not sure how many of you out there are like me. For example, if I'm reading a book, or even back when we used to have like the Saturday comics in the newspaper, I always read the ending first. I need to know the ending before I can, and it doesn't spoil the book for me. It doesn't spoil my enjoyment whatsoever, and it actually helps calm my anxiety about, I usually will get started into the book, and if I start feeling anxious or worried, I'm liking the character too much, and I'm thinking, is this author going to kill this character off? Or you know, is this going to have a happy ending? I need happy endings. I'm sorry. Tragedy just, there's enough real life tragedy in this world. I have a hard time with tragedies, and I know tragedy is important. I just don't need it. And it's also something else that I do with journals is quite often, as you know, if you've been with me long enough, I work in my journals from both sides. So I will start to work in a journal from the front to the center, and I'll also work in a journal from the back to the center until they meet. And so I kind of like the idea of putting her putting her on the front and also putting her on the back. So let's get started on that. And like I said, I'm going to need more time to think about what I'm going to do with that spine, because these are a photo and a negative. I'm really tempted to put this on the spine. We'll see. I need self-healing cutting mat. There we go. And I need a ruler. I'm going to pause and find my ruler. Okay. I apologize. Lately there's shadows. It's been overcast a lot, and it means I have to put my lights on in my room. And which means for me, I'm not good enough with my lighting to get it set up properly so that there is no shadows. So I apologize for the shadows if they drive you crazy. Sorry. There we go. Let's as ever, when I'm going through cardstock or chipboard, I find it easier to take several cuts rather than try and get through it with as few cuts as possible. You're more likely to have your knife jump and ruin either your picture, or have your knife jump and end up with stitches. So take your time and just do more run-throughs. I mean, certainly be firm, but you know, we're at our art desk. We're enjoying our day making art, so there's no rush. There's no reason to hurry. Thank you for all the nice comments and the people that were happy to see this book show up again. They were as happy as I was that it didn't end up in my blue box. And tomorrow is, we call them blue boxes because here they're blue, but it's recycling bin. And tomorrow is our pickup day. So if I hadn't had the little inspiration, it could very, see how my ruler moved a little bit there? It could very well have ended up in my blue box and not been able to enjoy its second chance at life, which is part of the pleasure, right, of junk journals. When people say, oh, how can you ruin a perfectly good book? Believe me, I've seen such comments. Not too many lately on my own, but I see it on others. Definitely see it on TikTok. I find that commenters feel a little bit more anonymous, and so feel a little bit more the anonymity gives them the courage to speak their mind, but not in a kind way. There are ways to say, oh, I disagree with what you're doing, but for some reason this world can sometimes be, has become a place that people are being unkind to each other. All right, so I clipped those corners because after I trim this one, I'm going to use my sand block, and that just makes it faster to round those corners, because my corner chomper will not go through this cardstock. This is a really heavy cardstock. It's a file divider, and I was able to find a whole bunch of them at my thrift store, and it's really, really thick, and it makes her fabulous base for things that you want a little bit thicker. Like, I love this. See how thick it is? But it's not as thick as chipboard. I think if I glued two together, that would be as thick as chipboard. These are fabulous for my little 2nana bookmarks. They're really great for that. Alrighty, here, where are we here? There we go. So the sunlight comes and goes and makes a liar out of me, because I see it's trying to come out now, which is very nice and very much appreciated. Very, very cold out there today. Little Kirby gets out there, gets what she needs to get done, and then she gets back in as soon as she can. Poor little thing. I've got some little boots for her. Tried to put them on her last night because, wowie, it was bitter cold last night, and for her last little visit before bed. And she sort of was walking around the house, lifting up and looking at me with this, really, you're gonna humiliate me like this? I guess it wouldn't have been so bad, but she's just been to the groomers. So the fur that normally grows between their pads that would give her a bit of temporary protection, in the end it doesn't, because the balls of snow that collect on that fur isn't good either. But on the other hand, to just pop out and do her little thing that she needs to do, that little bit of fur can be really helpful in protecting those dainty little paws of hers. She is like a little fluffy ballerina. For how short our little Dot's legs were, because she was half dachshund, this one has made up for it. She's got legs like a little ballerina. And yet she weighs less than Dot. You'd think that she weighs more, but she's all legs. She reminds me of my daughter Emily. Emily is one of my twins, and she was also, when she was a little one, all legs. So cute. No one can ever claim that I was ever all legs. And the legs that I did have, I was pigeon-toed and knock-kneed, so I was never meant to be a Grace Kelly or such like that. Who was the one? One of the old movie pin-up girls had her legs insured for like $3 million or something, I had heard. They were her claim to fame, her legs. Someone out there will know. My mother would know, because it was my mother who told me. She said, "See her?" We were watching something on TV, and I said, "Yep." She said, She's famous for the insurance policy on her legs. Oh my. On her legs. Now don't worry too much. You're going to see the core of the paper there. We're gonna go at this with of course our old trusty distress ink, but this will, it just smooths it, makes it feel a little more professional, as if it was the real deal. This is how I would go about making one of my faux carte de visite or faux cabinet card. Your sanding block is your best friend for making those. Or it's also how what I used to make the form for the little nosegay of violets that's going to go on that other bigger journal. I can't believe it now. Look what I've got myself into. For someone who was stumped and sort of lost my mojo, lost my jujo, junk journal mojo, for a little while, feeling sorry for myself. Now I've got four journals on the go. Oh well. It feels good to be excited about something on my desk. So here we go again. Remember, I took the scissors and just trimmed the little corner off, and then I just go around that edge, and then I sort of go at the top part at almost a 45-degree angle. To just take away that sharpness from the box cutter. Now the original of these, it looks like it was square. It looks like it did have it didn't have rounded off corners, but I feel like I want them to be rounded for this cover, and I'm making it, so I get to say what I want. You might wonder why I'm sanding the back. There's that little bit of a lip created from cutting with the blade, and to take that lip off, we'll just make sure that the glue, when I glue this onto the book, it will give it a little better adhesion. It'll stick better. Let's use some good plain English. And again, don't panic if you're looking at it and thinking, it's all white around the edge now, Catherine. That's why we like our distress ink. So, do I want gathered twigs? Do I want espresso? No, walnut. Let's try walnut stain. It's a little darker. My espresso is on a pad, and if I want to, I'm not going to be able to. Sometimes it's nice to be able to use the pad itself like that, and I can't do it from this. So I need a piece of paper. There we go. So with the walnut, it's just dusty from sanding. Let's try this first, but I have a feeling I may even, for this one at least, go in with the black ink pad. Nope, you know what? I'm liking that walnut. I think it's just enough. And it gets rid of that white paper core. See? Gone. There's the white paper core, and there's the side that we just did. White paper core. And then it goes. And then it looks like maybe, just maybe, it's the actual picture, and it's not something that I cut out of one of my books that I found at a thrift store. I really like this. Kind of reminds me of, I think there's a scary movie that has some creepy twins standing at the end of a hallway. I don't watch scary movies, but that part I know about. I've seen that in like commercials and such. What's that stuck there? All right, let's just go in with the dark one on you as well. I was tempted, and I still can, to go in with some gold around the edge of this, because you can see there's a bit of gold brass and that around the edge of this. So just because I'm using walnut stain, and you'll see I write myself notes, new walnut, because I'm trying my best to store my ink pads upside down, which they say is the better way to store your ink pads. So, but you can't tell when they're stacked what they are, so I always label them. And I'll always label one side upright in case I forget to put it upside down. But I always put either new or old. I save an old one because sometimes there will be a time that you just want a slight distress ink, and you want one of your old slightly dried up pads, and sometimes you want a nice juicy brand new pad. So I put new, and then once this one is dried up, I'll tape over that, or I'll just cross it out and write in small letters old. And then the old one, we will say goodbye to it. I used to be able to find refill bottles, and I tried for a couple of colors to use refill bottles, and I just never found refilling the pad ever did as nice a job. The pads just weren't as good. I think, this is my theory, I think maybe I'm the one that's too rough, or maybe it's using the makeup brush and doing this with it, or the makeup sponges, because I find that those deteriorate quite quickly, that maybe the pad itself starts wearing away too quickly, and they really don't lend themselves well to be when it's used for distressing, doesn't lend itself well to be re-inked, to have the ink refilled, unlike stamps that are used for stamping, where you're gently inking your stamper to make an imprint. You're a little more gentle with those ink pads than our distress ink pads. They take a beating. All right, so let's take a look at what our creepy little girl, well, I shouldn't call her that, but yeah, I rather like that. Not sure. Oh, I'm already at 31 minutes because I'm trying to decide whether I want to put that Kodak film, whether I want to do it around the edge or whether I simply want to fussy cut it and glue the fussy cut onto I'm not sure. If you have an opinion on the Kodak film machine, let me know. I'm always curious what people think. But in the meantime, I'm happy. I'm tempted to use photo corners, but I've already made this thick, so I'm not sure whether the photo corner would hold it up. I'm very tempted to go around this edge with the tiny, tiny bit of gold. Use my gilding wax, but not go nuts with it. Just give it a hint and even maybe just sand a bit of it off again, just so that it looks like at one point it did have a gold trim on it and it was worn off. I'm going to think about it. Well, thanks for joining me today. Let's come down a little bit so you can see what we've got done on this. She doesn't have a name yet. She kind of looks like she should be an Abigail. In the book it said unnamed little girl. So right now she's unnamed little girl. Anyhow, 2 days in a row, that's got to be a good thing. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're safe and healthy. And I hope if you're near where I am, I hope you're warm and that you've got electricity and heat, because some areas where I am, the heat is going on and off in areas, especially when it was freezing rain was coming down. Older areas that have the electrical cables still suspended from poles instead of buried underground, they're losing their power and getting cold. Anyhow, so keep warm, and we'll get together soon, hopefully. We'll talk soon. Bye.